I pushed open the closet door and found my 8-year-old nephew huddled among old boxes, clutching an empty water bottle as if it were a treasure. His eyes were empty, staring through me to some place I couldn't reach. "Tyler," I whispered, but he didn't blink. My brother's house was destroyed. The sofa was out of place, broken glass was scattered across the floor, and empty water bottles were rolling around in the corners. 10 days of absolute silence, 10 days of unanswered calls, and now this. My name is Isaac, I'm 32 years old, and I work as a financial analyst in Chicago. My brother Kevin was his best friend, the kind of brother who called every Sunday just to see how my day was going. Until the calls stopped. The messages went unanswered. And when I got here, I found a scene that looked like something out of a horror movie. Tyler was shaking as he held that bottle, as if letting go would mean death. I grabbed my phone with hands I tried to keep steady, but my voice came out shaky when I spoke to the 911 operator. "I need help. My brother is missing, and I found my nephew locked in a closet." 15 minutes later, the red and blue lights of the police car illuminated the room as 2 officers entered. Tyler was still in the same place, motionless, those lost eyes staring into nothingness. When I tried to touch him, he shrank even further. "How long has he been like this?" asked the younger police officer, crouching down beside me. "I don't know. 10 days without any news from Kevin. I came to check and my voice faltered. I found the door unlocked and the house destroyed." The ambulance arrived quickly. Doctors checked Tyler, hooked him up to N4, and talked about severe dehydration and psychological shock. I just held his cold hand, promising that everything would be okay, knowing I was lying. At the hospital, while Tyler slept under the effect of mild sedatives, the police officer asked me for details. Kevin was 35 years old, divorced 2 years ago from Amanda, Tyler's mother. She had gambling problems, and Kevin got full custody after selling the car to pay her debts for the 3rd time. "When was the last time you spoke to your brother?" 11 days ago. He said everything was fine, that Tyler was happy on his school vacation. I wiped my face with my hands. Knowing Kevin, he would never leave Tyler alone. Something very serious has happened. The night was long. Tyler woke up screaming silently, his mouth open but no sound coming out. I held him, sang the same songs Kevin used to sing, but nothing penetrated that invisible barrier around him. When the sun rose, a psychologist came to evaluate Tyler. She tried to talk to him, offered him toys, drawings. Nothing. The boy just hugged the teddy bear a nurse had given him, staring at the ceiling. "He needs time," the psychologist told me, but time was exactly what I felt we didn't have. On the 3rd day, as I wiped Tyler's face with a damp towel, telling him stories about Kevin as a child, my cell phone vibrated. It was the detective in charge of the case. "Mr. Isaac, we need you to come to the police station. We used luminol at his brother's house and," he paused. "We found blood. A lot of blood." My vision darkened. The detective's words continued, something about a crime scene and homicide, but all I could hear was the ringing in my ears. Tyler tugged at my sleeve at that moment. I looked at him and saw tears streaming down that thin little face. Then, after days of absolute silence, he spoke. Just 3 words that shattered my world. "Uncle. Daddy died." I fell to my knees beside the bed, pulling Tyler to my chest as he finally cried, a broken sound that tore my heart to pieces. The nurse rushed in with the monitor alarm blaring, but I didn't let go of my nephew. "I know, Tyler. I know," I whispered, my own tears wetting his hair. "But I'll find out what happened. I promise." Kevin wasn't just my brother. He was the guy who taught me how to ride a bike, who stood up for me when I was unfairly fired, who called me just to say he loved me. And now, holding his traumatized son, I felt something beyond pain. I felt determination. If you've been following this story so far, subscribe to the channel because what I discovered in the next few days completely changed everything I thought I knew about my family. The detective scheduled an appointment for the next day. He said there were important developments. Meanwhile, I sat next to Tyler, who had finally fallen asleep clinging to me, and made a silent vow. Whoever did this to Kevin, whoever left Tyler in that state, would pay. And I would personally ensure that justice was served, no matter what it took. But I had no idea how dark this journey would become, nor that the truth was much closer than I imagined. The police station smelled of stale coffee and paper when I entered the interrogation room the next morning. Tyler was with a nurse at the hospital, sedated enough to sleep without nightmares. I had barely slept, spending the entire night holding on to those 3 words he had said, "Daddy died." Detective Martinez, a man in his 50s with deep dark circles under his eyes, spread photos on the table between us. They were images of Kevin's house taken with luminol. Bright blue stains covered the living room floor, splatters on the walls, a trail leading to the back door. "The amount of blood suggests a serious injury," Martinez said, her pen tapping against the notepad. "We're treating this as a homicide until proven otherwise." I swallowed hard, forcing myself to look at those stains that were all that remained of my brother at the scene. What about Amanda? His ex-wife. "We're trying to locate her. Her apartment has been abandoned for 2 weeks. The landlady said she left in a hurry, taking large suitcases." He paused, watching me. "Do you know your sister-in-law well?" I did. I had known Amanda since Kevin brought her to Thanksgiving 12 years ago, a shy little girl with a sweet smile who blushed when her mother complimented her. I knew the Amanda who held newborn Tyler so delicately, as if he were made of glass. But I also knew the other Amanda. The one who came later. "She had a gambling problem," I began, my voice coming out hoarse. "Kevin told me it started small. Bingo with her friends, then online slots. By the time he realized it, she was already owing more than $50,000 to loan sharks." Martinez wrote everything down, but I could see that he already knew this. He had probably already checked her history. "Kevin sold his car to pay off the first debt," I continued, anger rising in my chest. "A '67 Mustang that he restored with our father before he died. It was the thing he loved most, besides Tyler. He sold it for next to nothing just to get those men away from the family." "And did her stop gambling?" I let out a bitter laugh. "For 3 months. She swore she'd learned her lesson, that she was going to therapy. Kevin believed her. He always believed her." I wiped my face with my hands. 6 months later, the debt collectors showed up at my mother's door. $80,000 this time. She had used the house as collateral for some shady loan. Did her mother have to pay? Every penny of her savings. Money she had saved for 30 years working as a nurse. Kevin was devastated. That's when he asked for a divorce. But that part of the story, the divorce part, was where everything really started to fall apart. Amanda didn't accept it. Not because she loved Kevin or Tyler, I realized later, but because losing financial control meant losing access to the money she could still extract from his life. During the custody battle, Martinez leafed through some papers. Were there any reports of domestic violence? I closed my eyes, remembering Kevin's call at 3 in the morning, 6 months before the divorce was finalized. His voice was broken, ashamed. "Isaac, I need your help. Amanda, she hit Tyler." I had driven 3 hours that night, finding my brother sitting on the porch with Tyler asleep in his lap. The boy had a purple bruise on his arm, finger marks where she had squeezed too hard during one of his angry outbursts. "She said it was an accident," Kevin whispered, tears streaming down his face. "That Tyler spilled juice on her purse, the new purse she had bought with the credit card I canceled. She just wanted to correct him." I opened my eyes and looked at Martinez. "She hurt Tyler a few times. Kevin documented everything, took pictures, recorded her threats. That's why he got full custody." "The threats?" "Amanda said that if he tried to take Tyler away from her, he would make her regret it. She said she knew people, that Kevin had no idea what she was capable of." My voice trembled. "We thought it was just anger, you know? Empty words from someone desperate. Kevin never imagined that she would actually." I couldn't finish the sentence. The image of Kevin lying on the floor, Tyler hiding under the bed watching everything, was too much. Martinez leaned forward. "Mr. Isaac, I need you to tell me everything you know about her associates. Loan sharks, other gamblers, anyone she might have called for help." That's when I remembered. There was a guy. Kevin mentioned him once, about 3 months ago. Amanda was harassing him, showing up at work, calling in the middle of the night. Once she wasn't alone. Kevin said there was a man with her, someone big and threatening. He thought it was one of the debt collectors trying to intimidate him. Did he describe this man? Tall, over 6 feet. Bald. Kevin said he didn't say anything, just stood there while Amanda yelled, but his presence was frightening. Like he was there to remind his of what could happen if he didn't cooperate. Martinez made an emphatic note. I'll check the security cameras at his workplace. If we can get an image of this man. My cell phone vibrated. It was the nurse from the hospital. Tyler had woken up and was asking for me. I looked at Martinez, torn. Go, he said, standing up. I'll keep investigating. But, Mr. Isaac, I need you to be prepared. If we find Amanda and she resists arrest, or if there is proven complicity in premeditated murder, he paused, choosing his words. Things could get a lot worse before they get better. On the way back to the hospital, I stopped at Kevin's apartment to pick up some of Tyler's things. Clean clothes, his favorite blanket, a few toys. The police tape was still on the door, but Martinez had given me permission to go in. The house was exactly as I had left it. Broken glass on the floor, furniture out of place. But now, knowing what had happened there, every detail took on new meaning. The pushed-over couch was where the struggle had probably taken place. The empty water bottles were Tyler trying to survive, hidden, dying of thirst but too afraid to come out. In Tyler's room, I picked up her things with trembling hands. That's when I saw it, under the bed where he had hidden. A small blue notebook with superhero stickers on the cover. The diary Kevin had given Tyler a few months ago, encouraging him to write down his feelings after therapy sessions. I opened it carefully. The first pages were typical children's drawings. Tyler and Kevin playing ball. His house with a smiling sun in the sky. But as I turned the pages, the drawings changed. They became darker. One page showed a woman with black hair, Amanda, her mouth open in a red scream. Another showed Tyler hiding under something, his eyes wide with fear. And then, on the last page with a drawing, something that made my blood run cold. Tyler had drawn the living room. His father on the floor, in red. Her black hair standing over him. And next to her, a huge, faceless figure, all in black. The man Kevin had mentioned. But there was something else. In the faceless man's hand, Tyler had drawn something that looked like a weapon. Not a regular gun. It was something bigger, thicker. Maybe a taser or a stun gun. I photographed the page with my cell phone and sent it immediately to Martinez. If Tyler had seen that, if there was a weapon involved that we hadn't found yet. My phone rang before I even put it away. Martinez. We just got an anonymous call. Her voice was tense. A woman matching Amanda's description was seen at a motel on the outskirts of town. We're sending a team now. But, Isaac, the informant said she's not alone. There's a man with her. A man. I gripped the steering wheel. I'm going to the hospital to be with Tyler. No, wait, Martinez hesitated. I need you to come to the station. We got access to Amanda's financial records from the last few weeks. And there's something you need to see. 20 minutes later, I was looking at bank statements spread out on Martinez's desk. Over the past 3 months, Amanda had made regular deposits. Small, never more than $500, but consistent. Enough to make minimum payments on her debts and keep the loan sharks at bay. Where did she get the money? I asked. We don't know. It was he who didn't have a registered job. But look here, Martinez pointed to a series of transfers made 2 weeks ago. The day after the incident at his brother's house, Amanda made 3 large transfers. $10,000 to a known loan shark, $5,000 to another, and $15,000 to an account in the Cayman Islands that we're still tracking. $30,000, I whispered. Her had planned this. Worse. Look at the date of the last transfer. He pointed to a pending transaction. It's for a week from now. $100,000, coming from an insurance company. My stomach churned. Kevin had life insurance. And guess who was still the beneficiary? Kevin had never changed it. After the divorce, with everything that was going on, with the custody battle and trying to rebuild his life with Tyler, he simply forgot to update his life insurance. That $200,000 policy he had taken out when Tyler was born, when Amanda was still his beloved wife, still had her name on it. She killed his brother for money, the words came out like poison. She planned it all. She brought someone in to help. She left Tyler hidden there to starve and thirst, hoping it would look like Kevin had abandoned his son and run away. Martinez nodded grimly. If Tyler wasn't found, if they assumed Kevin had voluntarily disappeared, Amanda could claim abandonment, eventually regain custody, and no one would question the insurance. It was very calculated. My cell phone rang again. The nanny, desperate. "Mr. Isaac," Tyler woke up screaming. "He's asking for his father, saying he has to tell him something. I can't calm him down." I ran to the car, but Martinez's voice caught up with me. "Isaac, the team arrived at the motel. Amanda is no longer there. But they found something in the room." I stopped, turning around. Fake documents. Passports, birth certificates. One for her and, he swallowed hard, one for Tyler. She was planning to flee the country and take the boy with her. The revelation hit me like a punch. Amanda hadn't just killed Kevin for the insurance money. She was planning to kidnap Tyler, probably to use as a hostage if she needed to, or perhaps as part of some even more sinister plan to access the boy's trust funds or inheritance. "Find her," I growled. "Find that psychopath before it's too late." I drove to the hospital with my mind spinning. Amanda was more dangerous than anyone had imagined. And now she was on the loose, desperate, with a violent accomplice at her side, and probably aware that the police were hot on her trail. When I arrived at Tyler's room, he was sitting on his bed, hugging his teddy bear, his eyes red and swollen. He saw me and stretched out his arms, crying. "Uncle Isaac, I tried to warn Dad," he sobbed as I hugged him. "I tried, but he told me to stay hidden. I heard everything. I heard her saying she needed the money, that Dad owed her after everything she'd been through. And the big man, he. It's okay, Tyler. You don't have to talk about it now." "But I do." He cried, pulling away to look at me. "Because she said something. Before they left. She said she was coming back for me. That I was her and no one was going to stop her." A chill ran down my spine. "When did she say that?" After Dad stopped moving. She bent down and whispered close to the bed where I was hiding. "I think she knew he was there the whole time, Uncle Isaac. And she said he should stay quiet and wait for Mom to come back and take him to a new place far away." Amanda knew. All along, she knew that Tyler was under that bed, witnessing everything. And she had left him there on purpose, perhaps planning to return after the situation had cooled down, when no one was looking anymore. I grabbed my phone to call Martinez, but before I could dial, I received a message from an unknown number. "He's my son, Isaac. And I'm coming to get him. Nothing you or the police do will stop me from getting what's rightfully mine. Tyler knows where the rest of what I need is. Ask him about the special toy his daddy hid. Once I have that, I might leave you alone. Maybe." I looked at Tyler, who had stopped crying and was watching me with those frightened eyes. "Tyler," I asked softly, "did Mommy say anything about a special toy that Daddy hid?" The boy nodded, trembling. "The safe. Dad showed it to him once, said it was our secret. Said if anything happened to him, he should tell you. It's in the attic, behind Grandpa's old books. Dad kept it there. Kept important things about her there. Bad things she did. Evidence. Kevin had gathered evidence against Amanda, probably documenting much more than I knew. And Amanda needed it to make sure nothing linked her to the murder, or perhaps to destroy evidence that would prevent the insurance payout. But now she had made a mistake. She had warned me about the safe. And that meant I had an advantage she hadn't expected. I looked out the hospital window, the city lights flickering in the darkness. Amanda was out there, hunting, desperate. But she didn't know that Tyler had told her where the safe was. She didn't know that I was already coming up with a plan. Kevin had left something behind, something important enough for Amanda to risk everything to get back. And I was going to find out what it was. Not just to protect Tyler, but to make sure that woman paid for every second of suffering she had caused. Because Amanda had made a fatal mistake in underestimating how far a brother would go to avenge his brother. And how far an uncle would go to protect his nephew from the monster his own mother had become. I waited for Tyler to fall asleep before leaving the hospital. The nurse promised not to leave him alone for a second. At the police station, Martinez already had a team ready to go with me to Kevin's house. The attic was exactly as Tyler had described it. Behind my father's old books, I found a digital safe built into the wall. Tyler had whispered the code before falling asleep, Kevin's date of birth. Inside were meticulously organized folders. Amanda's bank statements showing suspicious deposits of exact amounts every week. Photos of her entering underground casinos. Audio recordings of her threatening Kevin, saying he would pay dearly for ruining her life. But there was something else. A separate envelope labeled, "Life Insurance, Urgent." Inside, a completed form to change the beneficiary from Amanda to Tyler, dated 3 weeks ago. Kevin never got a chance to mail it. He knew, I whispered, holding the paper with trembling hands. He knew she was dangerous and was trying to protect himself. Martinez examined each document with growing attention. "This changes everything, Isaac. With these recordings, we can prove premeditation." Amanda knew exactly what she was doing. My phone vibrated again. Another message from the unknown number. "Did he find my gift in the attic? I hope you understand that it belongs to him. Bring everything to the mall parking lot at 10 o'clock tonight, alone, or Tyler will have an accident at the hospital. Hospitals are such dangerous places for children." The blood ran cold in my veins. She was watching. She knew I had gone to Kevin's house. "It's a trap," Martinez said immediately. "She wants to destroy the evidence." But looking at those threats against Tyler, at the recordings that proved every lie Amanda had told, I made a decision. I would no longer be the victim waiting for the slow justice of the system. Kevin had left me weapons, and I would use every one of them. "I'm going to the meeting," I announced, ignoring Martinez's protests. But not alone. And not unarmed. Because Amanda had made his biggest mistake. By threatening Tyler, by trying to intimidate me, he had revealed exactly how desperate she was. And desperate people make mistakes. Mistakes that I was about to turn into the most spectacular downfall she could ever imagine. The mall parking lot was empty when I arrived, 15 minutes before the appointed time. Martinez and her team were already positioned in civilian vehicles, disguised as night security guards. I was carrying a briefcase identical to the one Kevin had left, but with copies. The originals were in a bank vault, along with 3 copies sent to different lawyers. "Are you wearing the vest?" Martinez asked about the electronic bug hidden in my jacket. "Yes," I replied, feeling the weight of the equipment under my shirt. "But I don't think she's going to shoot him. It needs to look like an accident." While I waited, I mentally reviewed every step of my plan. What Martinez didn't know was that I wasn't just there to arrest Amanda. I was there to destroy her completely. In the last 2 days, since I found Kevin's evidence, I had done much more than inform the police. I had called every person on the recordings, the loan sharks, the underground casino owners, even Amanda's former gambling partners. Not to threaten them, but to ask questions. And what I discovered was devastating. Amanda wasn't just in debt. She was involved in a money laundering scheme through the casinos, using fake identities to move amounts that she could never pay back. The big man Kevin mentioned? He was the henchman of one of the bosses of the scheme, someone with an extensive criminal record. But there was more. Much more. Among Kevin's papers, I found something he probably didn't even realize the importance of: receipts from a private clinic where Amanda had been seeing a doctor regularly for the past 6 months. I investigated on my own, pretending to be a concerned relative, until I managed to talk to a nosy receptionist. Amanda was pregnant. 3 months. The information hit me like a punch. She had killed Kevin while carrying a child that could have been his. Or it could have been her accomplices. It didn't matter. What mattered was that it changed everything. A black car pulled into the parking lot. My heart raced, but I forced myself to stay calm. Amanda got out of the passenger side, wearing sunglasses despite the darkness. The large man on the driver's side remained inside, the engine running. "Did you bring what I asked for?" he shouted, keeping her distance. "It's all here," I held up the folder. "But first I need to know, why, Amanda? Kevin loved you. Tyler loved you. Was it worth it?" She laughed, a bitter sound that echoed through the empty parking lot. "Was it worth it? Isaac, you don't understand anything. Kevin owed me. He ruined my life with his ridiculous moralism, making her look like the villain when all she wanted was a chance to start over. By killing by leaving Tyler traumatized for life. Tyler will get over it. Kids are resilient." She took a step forward. "Now give me the briefcase and leave. If he cooperates, Maybe I'll leave him and the brat alone. That's when I made my decision. The original plan was to let her take the briefcase, have the confession recorded, and have the police arrest her. Simple. Clean. Legal. But that wouldn't be justice. Not for Kevin. Not for Tyler. Do you know what's in that briefcase, Amanda? I asked, opening it slowly. Copies. Because the originals are already in the hands of people he should really fear. Her expression changed. What are you talking about? The documents about his money laundering scheme. The evidence that he was embezzling money from the casinos. The names of very powerful people who are going to want to know why the police now have access to information that could destroy them. I saw the panic grow in his eyes. You wouldn't do that. You're not smart enough. I'm not? Kevin taught me everything about research, about connecting the dots. I threw the briefcase on the floor between us. And while you thought you were being clever, I spent the last few days making sure that even if you kill me now, everything will come out. To the police. To the media. And to his business partners. A man got out of the car, but Amanda raised her hand, stopping him. You're bluffing, but her voice trembled. I am? Then why did Carlos Menendez call you earlier today asking about $300,000 that disappeared? Why did his friend at the bank suddenly stop answering her calls? I wasn't bluffing. Over the past 2 days, I had used every contact Kevin had documented. I made anonymous calls, sent strategic emails, planted seeds of doubt in every relationship Amanda had built. Not just to help the police investigation, but to make sure she had nowhere to run. If you're with me so far, subscribe to the channel, because what happens in the next few minutes will show you how far someone can go when fighting for the memory of someone they love. You destroyed everything, Amanda whispered, panic turning to rage. Everything. No, I corrected, my voice firm. You destroyed everything when you killed his brother. I just made sure you paid for it in every way possible. That's when she pulled a gun from her purse. Small, chrome, trembling in her hand. The big man lunged forward, but police officers were already emerging from the shadows, guns drawn. Drop the gun, Amanda. Martinez shouted. But she wasn't looking at him. She was looking at me, pure hatred in her eyes. If I go down, you go down with me. Then we'll go down, I replied calmly. But the difference is that Tyler will grow up knowing that his uncle fought for justice. And you? You will be remembered as the mother who killed her own husband for greed. I saw the exact moment when she realized she had lost. Not just her freedom, not just the insurance money, but everything. Her safety net, her emergency exits, every plan B she had carefully constructed. The gun fell from her hand, hitting the asphalt. She collapsed to her knees, sobbing. But I felt no pity. Only a cold, calculated satisfaction. As the police handcuffed her, Martinez approached. You went beyond what we discussed, Isaac. I did what was necessary, I said, watching Amanda being put into the police car. Kevin deserved more than just prison. He deserved for the world to know exactly who she really is. What Martinez didn't know, what no one but me knew, was that my plan had another layer. The information I leaked about the money laundering scheme didn't just go to the police. It went to federal agencies, investigative journalists, regulatory bodies. By morning, Amanda's name would be headline news everywhere. Not as a tragic widow or desperate mother, but as a criminal, a murderer, a manipulator. And the life insurance? The lawyers Kevin had consulted weeks before he died already had clear instructions. If anything happened to the money would go into a trust fund for Tyler, managed by me. Amanda would never see a penny. I returned to the hospital, where Tyler was finally sleeping peacefully, sedated but stable. I sat by her bedside, holding her small hand. Kevin, I whispered to the empty room, I promised I would take care of his. I promised she would pay. And I will keep that promise until my last breath. My phone vibrated. A message from one of the lawyers. Documents processed. Amanda is being formally charged with first-degree murder, insurance fraud, money laundering, and conspiracy. The prosecution is seeking life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. I closed my eyes, letting the tears finally fall. They weren't tears of sadness, but of relief. Justice served. A brother avenged. But the real battle was just beginning. Because there was still one thing I hadn't told anyone. One last revelation I discovered in Kevin's documents. Something that would change everything once again. And when Amanda found out, when he realized how deep the hole he had dug for himself was, it would be too late for anything but eternal regret. The trial began 3 weeks later. Amanda entered the courtroom in handcuffs, her belly beginning to show signs of pregnancy. She looked at me with pure hatred, but I kept my expression neutral. The prosecutor presented the evidence meticulously. The recordings of Kevin making threats. The documents from the money laundering scheme. Tyler's testimony, so painful that I had to leave the room when he described the night of the murder. But the real bombshell came when I called my surprise witness. "I would like to call Dr. Robert Chun to the witness stand," I announced. Amanda turned pale. "His doctor from the private clinic. Dr. Chun, can you confirm that the defendant was 3 months pregnant when she committed the crime?" "Yes, I confirmed the pregnancy during a consultation 2 weeks before the date of the incident." "And can you tell us who the father is?" Amanda's lawyer stood up protesting, but the judge allowed the question. Ms. Amanda told me that his father was his accomplice, a man named Derek Mason. She was planning to use the pregnancy to force him to stay by her side. The room erupted in murmurs. Amanda wasn't just cheating on Kevin, she was using another man, manipulating him with a pregnancy. "There's more," I continued, handing documents to the judge. "These are messages between Amanda and Derek, planning the murder 2 months ago. She promised he a share of the insurance money." I saw the exact moment when Derek, sitting in the gallery awaiting his own trial, realized he had been betrayed too. Amanda had promised that Kevin had changed the insurance, that there would be no money. All lies. "You used me," Derek shouted, being restrained by guards. Amanda collapsed, realizing that her web of lies had finally unraveled completely. The jury deliberated for only 3 hours. Guilty on all counts. Life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. When the sentence was read, Amanda looked at me with tears streaming down her face. Not from regret, but from anger at having lost. I felt no pity. Only a cold, complete satisfaction. Tyler was in therapy, getting better every day. And I had ensured that Kevin's memory was honored, not just with justice, but with the complete truth exposed to the world. Because sometimes, the best revenge isn't destroying his enemy. It's making sure that he destroys himself with her own lies, while you just watch the pieces fall exactly as you planned. 6 months after the trial, I received a letter from prison. Amanda wanted to see him. I tore it up without even opening it completely. There was nothing she could say that would change what he had done. Derek got 25 years as an accomplice. The baby was born in prison and given up for adoption. Amanda tried to fight for custody, but the judge was clear: a convicted murderer had no rights over an innocent child. The irony was not lost on me. She killed Kevin for the insurance money and freedom, but she lost everything: the money, her freedom, her 2 children, and any shred of dignity she had left. Her lawyers tried to appeal, claiming that the evidence had been obtained illegally. But every document, every recording, every piece of evidence Kevin had collected was validated by the courts. My brother, even in death, ensured that justice was served. Tyler was making progress. Weekly therapy helped him process the trauma. He still had nightmares, still asked about his father, but little by little, the cheerful boy his brother loved so much was beginning to emerge again. "Uncle Isaac," she said to me one Sunday afternoon as we played video games in the living room, "would Dad be proud of him?" I paused the game, looking at that little face that no longer looked so thin and scared. "Why do you ask?" "Because he did the right thing. Even though it was hard." He hugged the teddy bear the nurse had given him at the hospital, the one that now went everywhere with him. "Dad always said that doing the right thing was more important than doing the easy thing." I pulled him into a hug, feeling tears burn my eyes. "His father would be so proud of you, Tyler. For being so strong, so brave." We sold Kevin's house. We couldn't go back there, not after everything. With the money, I bought a bigger house for the 2 of us, with a huge yard where Tyler could play safely. I turned one of the rooms into a memorial for Kevin: her photos, his trophies, the miniature Mustangs he collected. The trust fund Kevin had planned ensured that Tyler would have everything he needed: college, therapy, a future without financial worries. Amanda didn't see a penny. Derek tried to contact me from prison, wanting to explain her version. I ignored her. There was no version that could justify what they did. He chose to get involved with a sociopath out of greed, and now he would pay the price for the next 25 years. The story made headlines. Black widow and lover convicted of premeditated murder. Life insurance scheme ends in life imprisonment. Each article reinforced the message: crimes like this do not go unpunished. My mother, who had lost all her savings to Amanda years ago, finally had some peace. Seeing the woman who destroyed our family pay for her actions brought a closure that money could never buy. Kevin is at peace now, she told me, holding my hand as we visited his grave. And you, my son, have honored his memory in the best way possible. I looked at the headstone, imagining my brother smiling in his usual way, proud. I promised I would take care of Tyler. I promised she would pay. And you kept both promises. Tyler started calling me Dad a few weeks later. Not to replace Kevin, but because, in his words, you're doing what a dad does. I officially adopted him, ensuring that he was legally my son. Our family had been redefined by tragedy, but we were still a family. The insurance company initially tried to deny payment, claiming suicide or suspicious circumstances. But with Amanda and Derek's criminal convictions, they were forced to pay the full amount into Tyler's trust fund. $200,000 that would secure his future, not finance her escape. I received a message from one of Amanda's former victims, a woman she had stolen from in a pyramid scheme years ago. Thank you for doing what the system failed to do. For stopping her before she destroyed more lives. I realized then that it hadn't just been revenge. It had been justice for Kevin, protection for Tyler, and a warning to anyone who thought they could destroy families without consequences. Derek wrote from prison, trying to put all the blame on her. She manipulated me, the letter said. I didn't know she would go that far. But the messages between them, presented at the trial, clearly showed that he knew exactly what he was doing. He chose money over human decency. A year later, Tyler had her first school performance. A little musical about superheroes. He was Captain Courage, saving the day. When it was over and he ran to hug me, I whispered, his father would be so proud. I know, he smiled, that smile that was pure Kevin. Because you're here, and you're just like him. Amanda tried one last resort, pleading temporary insanity. It was denied. The evidence was too clear, the planning too meticulous. She knew exactly what she was doing when she killed Kevin. If he's followed this story this far, if it has touched his heart in any way, subscribe to the channel. Because stories like this need to be told. Stories about how family love can overcome even the cruelest betrayal, about how justice, even if delayed, always prevails. Today, when I look at Tyler playing in the backyard, laughing with his friends, just a kid without the weight of trauma on his shoulders, I know I kept my promise. Kevin is no longer here, but his legacy lives on through this incredible boy we raised together. Amanda will spend the rest of her life behind bars, thinking about what could have been if she had chosen love over greed. Derek will grow old in a cell, remembering that $30,000 cost him 25 years of freedom. And me? I learned that family isn't just blood. It's who's by his side when everything falls apart. It's honoring the memory of those we've lost by protecting those he loves. Kevin taught him to be strong, to fight for what's right, to never give up on family. And now I pass those lessons on to Tyler, ensuring that the cycle of love and protection continues, that tragedy does not define who we are, but reveals how resilient we can be. In the end, Amanda wanted to destroy our family for her own gain. But all she did was make us stronger, bring us together in ways she never imagined possible. She lost everything in her pursuit of wealth. We gained everything by valuing what really matters. That is true poetic justice, not just life in prison, not just the loss of everything she valued, but knowing that the family she tried to destroy is stronger, more united, and happier than ever. Tyler is his son now. Not out of tragedy or obligation, but out of love. The same love Kevin had for him, the same love that guided me through pain and anger until I found justice. And when Tyler asks, years later, how I managed to do all this, I will tell him the truth. For you. For his father. For our family. Because some things are worth any fight. Amanda thought she was being clever, that she had planned the perfect crime. But she underestimated the power of a brother who loves, of an uncle willing to do anything for his nephew. She underestimated that, in the end, love always wins over greed. And that, my friend who has accompanied me this far, is the most important lesson. Protect those you love, fight for what is right, and never, ever underestimate the power of a family determined to seek justice. Kevin may be gone, but he lives on in every smile from Tyler, in every moment of joy we ensure together. And that, no murderer, no criminal, no Amanda in this world can take away from us. Revenge did not bring Kevin back. But it ensured that Tyler could grow up knowing that his father was loved, honored, and avenged. And that her, the woman who should have protected him, was punished exactly as she deserved. Justice was served. Family was preserved. Love prevailed. And I would sleep peacefully for the rest of my life, knowing that I had kept every promise I made to my brother on that terrible day at the hospital.